Hey everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. And today we are talking some horror movies that I've picked up on DVD recently. Some of these are from Disc Replay, some are from Second & Charles, and some are from eBay. So kind of all over the place. The only thing that kind of relates them all is that they all happen to be horror movies. And better yet, I have a whole nother stack of horror movies over there. Those ones are, I don't want to call them boutique labels, but labels like Ghost House Underground or things like that. So we'll talk about those in another video. Today, we have 11 horror movies to go through, so let's get into it without wasting any more time at all. Let's dive right in to my horror DVD haul. Alright, so first up on the docket today is maybe more thriller than horror, but that's alright, it still kind of fits. And it's actually brand new, which is pretty cool. I think I got this one from Disc Replay. This is Radar with Ashley Benson and Matt McGorry. I don't know Matt McGorry, but obviously I know Ashley Benson. Pretty Little Liars, of course I know her. And wasn't she in Spring Breakers as well, which is a movie I absolutely love. But anyway, I heard of this movie thanks to Miranda, and she watched it and actually enjoyed it quite a bit from what I recall. So that's why I added it to my list, and like literally days after that, I ended up finding it for super cheap. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty cool ad. This one here, it's like a cyber thriller of some sort. So very intrigued to see how it's going to be. It almost looks found footage, which you guys know I am such a sucker for. So very intrigued on this one. We have Radar with Ashley Benson. Here's one from the early 2000s that I'd never heard of before, but it has Christina Ricci in it, so why not give it a shot? This is The Gathering, and this looks to be a supernatural horror film. I guess she ends up kind of meeting up with this guy who is researching this church that is buried, but it has all these images of Christ in it, and it just sounds very intriguing. And I guess she's going to start seeing visions of dead people or something along those lines. So not a clue if I'm actually right on that synopsis, but that's what I gather from the back of the box here. And Christina Ricci is excellent. So an early 2000s horror film that I just never heard of at all. So very interested to see how this one is going to be. This one is The Gathering. Here is a sequel to a movie that I don't think I've ever watched from start to finish, but it reminds me of something like Invisible Man, but we have Hollow Man 2. And what's cool about this one is that Christian Slater is in it. Now, I don't know if he's the main character. Actually, yeah, it looks like he is, according to the pictures on the back here. So that's pretty interesting. But wasn't Kevin Bacon in the original Hollow Man? Maybe I'm mixing that up, but I believe it was him. And yeah, so I have no idea if this is going to be any good. I've not heard anything about the sequel, but I have the original in the collection, so I figured I might as well add this one, and I can do a double feature sometime to see if these movies are worth the time or not. Actually, Hollow Man, I think I recently showed in a steelbook that I received from Mill Creek Entertainment. But yeah, the sequel is now in the collection, so I have to do a double feature one day. We have Hollow Man 2 with Christian Slater. This next one is interesting because they recently announced a Blu-ray for this coming from Scream Factory. It actually releases, I believe it's next month from when I'm filming. I do have it pre-ordered, but honestly, that's one that I might end up canceling because I don't love this movie, but I just got like hyped up that it was finally coming to Blu-ray, so I pre-ordered it. We have Stephen King's The Shining, and this is the like mini-series or the TV version of the film. Now, I have a full I believe I did a book versus movie on this many years ago now, probably 3 or 4 years ago when I read the book and then compared it to this movie and the Kubrick film. And this one is very different from the Kubrick film, much more aligned with the original novel, and it's the one that Stephen King likes over the two of them. That said, it's still not a great movie. I think I was looking back, I thought I liked it more than I actually remember. I remember liking it more than I actually did at the time. I think I only gave this one like 2 out of 5 stars when I watched it. I remember it being maybe like a 3.5 star movie, but clearly that's just wrong. So yeah, I don't know. If I do get the Blu-ray, I will just purge this one from the collection because this is kind of a hard one to find. Normally, I've only ever seen this with the triple feature. There's like 2 other Stephen King films, I believe, that come in a triple feature with this, and that's the only way I've ever seen it in the past. So when I saw this, I had to pick it up, and admittedly, I did pick this one up like 4 or 5, maybe 3 or 4 months ago now, before that Blu-ray was even announced. But either way, if I hold on to this one and I don't get the Blu-ray, then the DVD will stay in the collection. Otherwise, I will upgrade to that Blu-ray from Scream Factory. It's just a little bit pricier than maybe I need to spend on The Shining, but that's neither here nor there. Directed by Mick Garris. Check it out if you're interested. If you love the book, it might be worthwhile. I wouldn't recommend going back to watch my book versus movie on this. It's just so long ago, but it's on the channel if you want to check it out. We have Stephen King's The Shining. This was a pretty cool find. I think I grabbed this one from Second and Charles, if I'm not mistaken, but we have Urban Legends Bloody Mary. This is the 3rd movie in the Urban Legends franchise, at least as I know it, and the only one that I haven't seen. I really like the first 2 Urban Legends movies. I actually watched the second one first, and I watched that one because my mom happened to buy it for me from Blockbuster on VHS back in the day, and I love that movie. The first one I have seen since then, and it's great. Probably even better than the second one, frankly. But yeah, this 3rd one I've always been interested in, but I've not seen it yet. So very excited I was able to add this one to the collection because I just don't see this one ever really out in the wild. So Urban Legends Bloody Mary, I now have all 3 films. You know what? I say that. I think I actually am still missing Final Cut, the second movie, on DVD. I think I only had the VHS, which I no longer have. But yeah, either way, Urban Legends Bloody Mary is in the collection. Here's a sequel to a movie I showed, man, maybe 6 months ago now. But we have The Pact 2. By all accounts, this movie is dreadful compared to the original, but hey, I figured I would check it out anyway. And it's funny because when I bought The Pact, I thought it was a different movie. I was thinking of a movie called Lovely Molly, which is directed by one of the guys that did, Eduardo Sanchez, who did Blair Witch Project. I love Lovely Molly. For some reason, I was mixing it up at the time with The Pact, so that's why I ended up adding The Pact to the collection. But then, because I had the first one, I wanted to grab the second one, even though it's not supposed to be very good. And I think this one is actually like it's a Canadian release. You can see some of the logos down there. But yeah, so I have no idea if it'll be as bad as people say or not. Let me know if you've seen this one down below. But yeah, I will eventually watch The Pact 2 along with its predecessor, the original film. Speaking of really cool finds from Second and Charles, this one is definitely one of them. I have been trying to find this for a very long time and just never came across it in the wild. But we have Return to Sleepaway Camp. So this was like a sequel that happened many years after the original series ended. And I remember this one being at Blockbuster all the time, but it was one of those situations where the DVD just was never there. I always saw the box, but no actual DVD behind it to rent. And so I've never seen this one, but I am so excited I was able to find it. This one actually goes for a little bit more than I paid for it on eBay. I don't think it's super expensive. DVDs nowadays, I mean, so few of them are worth anything, but this is one that does have a little bit of value to it, and I spent like $3 or $4 on it from Second and Charles, so very excited to watch it. It's probably atrocious, but eventually I want to watch through the entire Sleepaway Camp, and so I can now do that because I believe I have all of it, if not all of it, maybe most of it at least, in the collection. But yeah, really cool find with Return to Sleepaway Camp. This is another really cool find from Second and Charles. I don't know, I've got these a few months ago, and it was just, I was hitting every time I went to Second and Charles at that point. But I was able to find Martyrs, the original French film. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest. The first time I saw this, I thought it was severely overrated. I did not get the hype behind this one at all. But ever since then, I've been wanting to rewatch it. And I think the first time I watched it, I either rented it on Netflix on DVD or something along those lines because I no longer had the DVD. I never owned it and I don't have it in the collection. But I was able to find this one. And again, really good price on this. I believe there actually is a Blu-ray for this one, but I'm not going to spend the money on the Blu-ray when I don't love it. At least that's how I remember it. So very interested to check it out again. Maybe I'll like it more on the second time through. We will see. I did see the American remake with another girl from Pretty Little Liars, Torian Belliserino. I'm butchering her name, but Spencer from Pretty Little Liars. She's excellent. And I feel like I didn't love that one either. I don't know which one I liked more offhand, but yeah, either way, I'm checking this one out again. So I thought it was a cool one for the collection regardless. This is Martyrs. I guess I'll just show these last three together because they're all part of the same franchise. And this is a bit of a continuation for something I started talking about, man, maybe 2 months ago now. I wanted to try to collect all of the Saw franchise, but in both the theatrical and the director's cuts. Now, obviously, I have the Saw franchise on the director's cut in the Blu-ray set behind me, plus whatever's available on 4K, which is unfortunately just the original and, well, Spiral, Book of Saw, plus Jigsaw, and Saw 10, which I still have yet to watch, but I bought that one when it hit 4K. But the rest of them, the best you can get is Blu-ray. And on that Blu-ray set, it's all the director's cuts. So finding those theatrical releases was proving a lot more difficult than I anticipated, but I did find some of them here. And I'll talk about why this is probably going to be the end of it for me. But the first one here is Saw 2. And what's really tricky is finding the widescreen edition of the theatrical R-rated version, if you can see that down there. So that's what I was finding most tricky. There's a lot of full screen out there, but I didn't really want those, so I was trying to get the widescreen with this. So the other thing that's cool about these is typically they're going to have a lot more special features than the Blu-ray set does because, as far as I remember, there is very little available in terms of special features on the Blu-ray set. So this is cool. Now, obviously, there are like other releases. There are so many releases of this franchise. You can just go down a rabbit hole, which admittedly I did a few months back, but I've kind of settled on this. But anyway, this one is Saw 2. And then I'm going to skip this one because I think this is the coolest one. So let's talk about this one next. We have, oh, it fell out. We have Saw 4 and another one with the widescreen edition, and you can see the R rating right somewhere. There it is, right there on the back. Now let me open this up. This is actually a really cool case. I love this. I always love those see-through cases that they have. Unfortunately, this DVD just popped out, so let me just make sure we're still good, and we are. So yeah, there's the saw blade on that, and then this has officialsaw.com, which is just pretty cool also. But yeah, so that is Saw 4. I got to put it, oh, I got it all backwards, whatever. Let me just set it down here. And then the last one that I'm getting, or that I'm talking about today, I think is the coolest because not only is there a director's cut, but there is a theatrical cut, and then there is a nope, I just said it wrong. What is it called? Oh, it is a director's cut. So there's theatrical cut, the unrated cut, and the director's cut. So there's actually 3 versions of Saw 3. I have the unrated on the Blu-ray. I found the theatrical cut on DVD. I showed that one a couple months ago. But I didn't have this one here, which is Saw 3, the director's cut. And by most accounts, this is the best version of the film. So that's why I really wanted to grab this one. Now, unfortunately, mine does not have the slipcover that originally came with this, but honestly, I just could not find any one that did on eBay when I was looking. So this was the best I could do, and I'm very happy to have this. And you can see it actually has the movie ticket in it as well, which is pretty awesome. But this is a 2-disc set, which is really cool to see. So yeah, tons of special features on this, as you can see there. I like Saw 3. Out of the sequels, probably Saw 2 is the best of them, but I really like this franchise in general for how stupid it is. It's just fun. So yeah, very happy I was able to find this one. It's just not very easy to come by. And then on top of those, the only 2 I'm missing at this point is what? I have 4. So it's Saw 5 and Saw 6. The problem with this is that the only way these were ever released in the States with the theatrical edition is on full screen DVDs. I don't necessarily want that. And again, finding these theatrical cut full screen DVDs, even on eBay, is extremely difficult. And so I was able to find a new one on Amazon for one of the 2. I don't remember which. I think Saw 6. But it's like $15. Now, that's not a lot of money, of course, but do I want to spend $15 for a movie I own multiple times, and do I want to spend it on a full-screen DVD? I don't really think I do. So, with Saw 5 and Saw 6, I think I'm just going to be out of luck in terms of getting a physical of those. Now, if I find them for super cheap at Disc Replay or somewhere else along the, down the road, I will absolutely grab them. But for now, the way you can get the Saw 5 and 6 on theatrical cut in widescreen is actually through Vudu. They sell them on there for some reason, only on there and not available elsewhere, which is so weird to me. But that might be the way I do this. If I decide to do like a theatrical cut run of the franchise, I'll probably just buy them off of Vudu. But I believe they're like $10 a pop, so not that much cheaper than the actual DVD itself, but you're getting full screen and you're getting HD actually also versus the DVD. So yeah, those two I'm a bit out of luck on, frankly. And if you guys know something I don't with this franchise in terms of Saw 5 and Saw 6, please let me know down below. But that's what my hours, I would say, of research has led me to discover. I love going down rabbit holes like this, so this was a lot of fun. But yeah, so anyway, today, wrapping up my Saw collection of theatrical cuts, we have Saw 2, Saw 3, and Saw 4, and that is going to wrap up all of the horror movies for this haul. All right, so if you're still with me after that extremely long tangent about the Saw franchise, thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. But let me know down in the comments below, what horror movies have you been finding at your local stores lately? Anything cool? Anything worth talking about? Let me know down in the comments below. Anything out of this pile that I absolutely must put at the top of the list? Let me know any recommendations down in the comments. I appreciate any and everything down there. So thank you so much for all that support. Before you guys go, if you have a quick second, go ahead and hit that like button down below. That engagement really does help me out. So with that said, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all so much for checking out this video. And before you go, I just want to encourage you all to consume some media today. I'll catch you next time.